She wears a necklace of hands. Out of Egypt into the desert. Hello, welcome to I Read This Book with Chris. This is Chris. This is the book. Captive Universe by Harry Harrison. While discussing Captive Universe, I've got myself Moscow Mule. Captive Universe. This came out originally published in 1969 by Harry Harrison. On this channel so far I've discussed, and I think I've only read, the Stainless Steel Rat series by Harry Harrison, and then Star Smashers of the Galaxy Rangers. And this book is going to be a very different book. What is Captive Universe? So we follow Shamal, a young man. So the first section of the book is we learn about him and we learn about his world. Shamal is born and lives in a small valley that has two villages. The valley is an Aztec valley. They follow the Aztec gods, and they are punished by the gods to live and die in the valley for 500 years. The valley is sealed for 500 years for the valley to do its penance, at that which point they will be free. Chimel is a troublemaker. He is smart enough to know the rules and get in trouble for knowing the rules. For example, you can't leave the valley. You can't attempt to leave the valley. There are priests in the valley, and they basically rule everything. They have all the rule books of what is to be done and what is not to be done. And so, one time, Chimel gets in trouble because you're not supposed to climb out of the valley. He was climbing, but he wasn't super high off the ground when he got caught, and he told them, well, you're not supposed to climb out of the valley, but you're able to climb up to the height of 3 men in order to collect eggs. So you would say 15 feet, 18 feet, something in that range. You can't climb higher than that. So he got in trouble for climbing, and then when he told them the rule, and they went and they checked and they found that his rule was correct, he then got in trouble for talking back to the priests. He knows there is truth behind what the priests say and what they tell him. They talk about the gods and what the different gods do, and there's one god who is the god of the river at night and is a god of death. Kotlikyu is the god who walks the river at night to make sure people are at home in the villages. And anyone who is caught out by the river at night will be killed by Kotlikyu for breaking the taboo. He knows this is true because he's seen people. Every once in a while, people go and test this and get caught. And their hands get cut off and added to Kotlikyu's. She wears a necklace of hands. And his father, before he was born, was one of the people killed by Kotlikyu. And so he knows these things are true. But he also knows that these priests, who are these ones watching the rules and keeping rule over everyone, don't know what they're talking about. It's time for Chimel to get married. It's an arranged marriage, and Chimel does not agree to it. So, on the wedding night, as the ceremony is about to be performed, he runs off and runs home. And in the morning, he gets arrested by the priests for not doing as he's supposed to. He gets an argument with the lead priest, who's an old man, and this old man, due to the stress of this, has a stroke. And because of his stroke, he's unable to say the prayer in the morning to the god of the sun, and so the god of the sun does not rise, and there's chaos. His mother slips in, frees him, and tells him, run away, escape. And she, knowing that she's going to get caught or accused of freeing her son, slips in to the cell where they were holding him in order to take his place. Knowing that they were going to kill her son, she decides, I'm going to take that place instead. And so then Chimel runs off. They're able to get a new first priest, because the other first priest dies. They say the prayer, the sun rises, and then they go looking after Chimel. He hides in the swamp for a day and a night, realizes he can't stay here forever, and so he follows where Kotlikyu goes at night, and he sees her disappear into a door in the rock. It's so clean, if you didn't know it was there, you wouldn't see it. But once you know it's there, he can see it. And he manages to escape, and he finds a tunnel in the rock. All of a sudden, his world that he thought he understood, at least had some sort of understanding of, breaks. So here he is. The whole world now seems to be but rock. The tunnel goes on. And he finds that there are other people holding technology that no one in the valley had, wearing clothes that no one in the valley had, using words no one in the valley knew, or watching him. And he tries to figure out what's going on here. And they say, you are of the valley, you're not in the valley. You cannot know what's going on here. And so the solution is that we have to kill you. So he runs off, kidnaps one of the women there to act as a guide, and manages to hide for a while. And while doing so, he explores this system of caves and caverns which these watchers use to observe the people of the valley. And he realizes not everything is as it seems, not everything is the way he was taught. For example, he sees the path which the sun takes across the sky, and it's literally a cart path that the sun carries. He sees great caverns in the ground that are filled up with water, and he sees the pumps that move the water that drains out from the bottom of the swamp up to come into the waterfall that fills the river that comes through the valley. He sees it all, realizes things are not as he seems, none of it makes sense. At which point, he gets caught. And getting caught, they say to him, who are you? Tell us your name. And he says, I am Chimel. My mother is of this village. Father is so-and-so of this other village. And they realize that he is the first arrival. And they say, we cannot kill you. And he's very confused because he's been running for several days based off these people wanting to kill him. But then as soon as they know who he is, they don't want to kill him. His whole world was once again shattered. He learns that his whole valley, all of the people, of all the watchers, the observers, the people who watch him, and the people in the valley, all of the system of water flowing and the sun rising and setting, all of this is actually in a giant meteor. Is it meteor? Meteorite? It's not a meteorite. Asteroid? It's the asteroid belt, right? It's in this giant asteroid in outer space that was captured and turned into a giant spaceship filled with people set up in this configuration because the trip would take 500 years from Earth to Alpha Centauri. And you know how, like, in like an ice pack that they have in like first aid kits, where you break them and all of a sudden a chemical reaction happens and everything cools down? This is basically the design for the two villages, where you have two villages full of people who are not super intelligent, who are people who are just willing to do the same thing done over and over again. Enough intelligence to survive and to plant and all that, but not enough to ask questions. But as soon as these two villages, which are kept separate for 500 years, intermarry, some set group of recessive genes pop out, and you have geniuses, people who, this hidden genius is hidden in the genes, and it pops out. And Chimel, being born of a secret love affair between two people of two different villages, is the first. He's not supposed to be here yet, but he is. And so this was the design, is that you'd have a group of people who are meant to watch the spaceship, keep it going, watch the people in the valley, but the people in the valley were to be the humans that, once they arrived, would help colonize this new planet. He learns all this, and also learns that it's been over 500 years since the planet has left, or since it's left Earth, and they've passed Alpha Centauri. And that's because the Watchers, who were supposed to take the village, the two villages, the valley people, to Alpha Centauri, realized they did not want to deal with this. That would be a change, and they liked the system the way it was, and they didn't want to change. So, by hook and by crook, Chimel goes running around, once again being chased by these people, learns that the only way to free his people from being in this state is to get them to Alpha Centauri, and the only way to get them to Alpha Centauri and not wait another 500 years till they reach the next star system is to break open the valley. The valley's supposed to be opened after 500 years. So he figures out how to do it, and he's chased by these Watchers, but he breaks open the landslide that has trapped his people in the valley. And these two groups of people that have lived so close together for 500 years come together, and the villagers come out, and they see, as he removes the rock slide that does it, the end of the valley opens up into a giant room that opens out upon the stars. And they come out and they see. And all of a sudden, this can't be put back together. He broke it. He's changed it. And the Watchers recognize this fact. And he's able to redirect the ship back. And so now, it's 50 years between this point, the point where Kymel opens the end of the valley, and their spaceship will reach Alpha Centauri. And so he has this time to open these, to train his villagers with the library and let them all figure it out. What's going on here, so they will be ready. Because not this group, but the next group coming after. He's freed them out of Egypt into the desert. And now that they're in the desert, they have 50 years, and the next generation that'll come up, now that these new people will be able to marry across the villages. All these new ice packs and geniuses, right? These will now be opened up and will be able to properly colonize these new planets. So, this is the story of Captive Universe. It's really a coming-of-age story of a young man just turned 20 or just turned 21 who is coming out into the world and realizing the world's not as it seems. And every layer he breaks in is a layer deeper. He rejects the traditions that he came up in. He knows there's truth to it, but not exactly what. It's written as if someone who is coming and rejecting, like, the truths of Christianity or whatever religion it is they're coming from. But knowing that there is something there, it's not this empty world that some people might claim it to be. But while he rejects this, at the same time he has his mother acting as a living sacrifice, giving up her life, trading her life for his, which is a very messianic move. I give my life for you. It also, like I was mentioning at the end, he also acts as a Moses figure. He is the first one free. He is the one that brings his people out of the freedom of Egypt into the desert. And they'll be wandering for 50 years. And in these 50 years, a new generation will be born. And the people in charge now will no longer be. It's a new people he's freeing to set up. And if it wasn't him, the people would continue going on in this fake world for another 500 years. It's a great book. I'm very surprised Harry Harrison was able to write this. So as I've said, the other two books that I've read, well, I've read Star Smashers of the Galaxy Rangers, which is silly beyond compare, a bunch of things that don't make a whole lot of logical sense. Just a romp of a space thriller, a bunch of people doing ridiculous things, making a bunch of bad jokes. Dynasty Rat is about this thief trying to commit heists all over the galaxy, getting himself into all sorts of ridiculous situations. Both of them are very fast, chaotic, crazy. And this one, I think, is a brilliant coming of age, a brilliant slow book. It's not super slow, it's 180 pages or something. But you go and a world's built, and that world crashes. And a new world's built, and a new world crashes. A new world built, and a new world crashes. And every time, as you're following Kymel throughout the story, you believe in this world that he's in. And then you see it break. You're like, what's going on? And then you follow him as the new world is then created. Time and time and time again. And I think it hits the right spot between the skeptical and the belief, the having faith in something and figuring things out, while also realizing that there are stories that he's been told, and these stories are not always reliable or accurate or helpful. Coming to age, you hit that point in your life where you've been told stories and you either accept them or you reject them, right? Obviously, there's stuff in between there, too. You accept this and you reject that. You accept this part of that and that part of this. And here he is trying to figure out what to believe and what not to believe. And yeah, it's a good book. It's a quick read. If you come across it, pick it up. Yeah. Thanks for watching.